Mr. Eric.
What?
What do we got for the next?
Oh, you want a question?
Relook. Yeah, might as well. We're here.
If you insist.
Yeah.
Okay, Ian Cardno from Scotland, by the way. This question is from Scotland, via the YouTubes, if I'm not mistaken. Asked, do you guys ever work with or consult with any kilt makers in Scotland, like to exchange ideas on what's going on in fashion-wise, or what's different between each side of the pond? For instance, I've noticed that gray kilts seem to have become very popular at weddings over here. Are they popular in the United States also? Sure. So, do we ever consult with our peers across the pond?
Yes. One of the things for the most part, we get on with most companies, unless you're a jerk or a shyster kind of thing. There's plenty to go around, and we're friends with a lot of different kilt makers, both in the U.S. and over in Scotland. And the mills are another great source of information for us for right. Current trends and things like that. And other companies in like accessory companies, because they'll see trends based on specific tartans or things like that. We know more about the hire trade, the rental trade over in Scotland. So yes, we absolutely consult with them. Yes, we see what trends are existing, which ones are coming, where kind of things flow. There is an ebb and flow to it. Even though it's traditional stuff, even though it's been around for hundreds of years, it still evolves much more slowly than regular fashion does, but it still evolves over time. So in the mid to late 2000s, there was the solid black kilt thing, or the shadow tartan thing.
Remember that.
And then that kind of made way for more tweed stuff and more weathered things. And now we're going into marled kind of yarns and things like that.
Yep.
So there is an ebb and flow within it. It's not just a straight line through history straight across to the current day. There are definitely trends. One of the funnier things that I've noticed, or that have been relayed to me from both mills and from companies that do hire in Scotland, is it's not there's less people in Scotland, younger people who are getting married, getting their first kilt, early 20s, late teens. A lot of them get their first kilt for a graduation gift or something like that, either high school or college. A lot of those people are not necessarily getting their family tartan. They're getting a universal tartan or something that they like the look of if they don't dig on their family tartan. So one of the most striking differences between Scottish people wearing kilts, and this is again broad brushstroke, versus Americans wearing kilts, is we're doing it for family heritage reasons. So we're more closely looking at it, generally speaking, from a clan tartan angle, versus younger people in Scotland right now, current day, are tending to kind of like more the universal stuff, and it's more the national, I'm Scottish because I'm wearing tartan, I'm wearing a kilt identity, not this is my great granddad's kilt, so therefore I'm going to wear the same thing that he wore 150 years ago. It's they're putting a personal, fun spin on it, not a family spin on it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it sounds, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds to me like what you're saying is that they're basically taking it as this is what you're supposed to do for a kilt outfit. I want to make it interesting to me.
Yes. Like
you're supposed to wear a kilt for your wedding, for graduation, whatever. But they want to make it snazzy by today's standards. And I think I think digital evidence bears this out, because I came across a feed on the Kilts Culture group just a few days ago. Some Scottish company put out another of these videos where they talk about what is the national dress of Scotland, and the guy who's showing it off and modeling it is wearing a marled thread, very contemporary looking tartan. It's not a clan tartan at all. It's a very large set. It's like, I think it's like a maroon kind of a base color and stuff like that. And he's got like a colored tie, and it's like very contemporary looking outfit. And it's just like obviously showing like the national dress is made out of these elements, but color and tartan are not the big priority for them. It's the pieces parts of the outfit that they care about, and then they're filling those pieces with fashion. If that makes any sense.
Yes, the overall look. Yeah. Now, and I will say this, there are still people in Scotland who will say, nope, I want my family tartan.
Of course.
Period. Of course there's going to be that. But it's not 100% that's how it's done all the time, period. Yeah. And it's we know enough people in Scotland who have told us this is how it is from an industry standpoint. This is what we are selling. This is what we are renting. This is what we are selling to people who are also renting at a party, whatever.
Right.
So it's the myth of it must be a clan tartan and that's how the Scots do it. It's just not true, whether they think it is or not. So it's but it's not true because some people do.
It's there's a baseline, but it's not the be all end all.
Yeah, we are all humans. We are all going to have our own decisions, our own desires, our own opinion on what I think looks good or doesn't look good. If I'm a Buchanan and I go, you know what, I really, really hate that it's asymmetrical. I hate all the Buchanan tartans. I don't want that. I really love the gray because I can wear it with anything. Great, you're going to get that. And it's not, you don't have to be Scottish to feel that way. You don't have to be Canadian, American, whatever. It's just, you're just wearing what you like.
I will say this. You've commented before, and I think it's true, that what we do tend to hear from the guys over in Scotland is if there's a trend that's happening there now, we can expect to see it here in like
a couple years.
A couple of years. So it's kind of like we get a sneak preview into the future sometimes. It's just like, oh, this is the trend, and this is what's going to percolate through.
Yep.
So we definitely do see that, which is kind of cool because then we get to pick and choose what we think is a long-lasting idea as opposed to a flash in the pan. There have been a couple of trendy kilt outfits over the years, which was like, why did you do that? But sometimes you can just like, oh, okay, hey, that could be cool.
And the weird thing is that is kind of led in two forks. It's led by the bagpipe bands, like the whole tweed jacket thing, because they were tired of wearing black Argyle jackets. That was kind of led by bagpipe bands, and then it's also led by the hire industry because it's kind of a yin yang thing, or a dog chasing his tail. It's what are people asking for, and how do you get ahead of the curve? If it's time to replace my jackets for my entire inventory, how do I get ahead of the curve? What's the next trend going to be? Then they start carrying that thing. Then more people come in and say like, oh, hey, that's neat. Or this is my option is this gray color tweed or this brown color tweed with their rental kilts. And then it sort of starts that way. So then what ends up happening over there kind of gets exported to the U.S. for this is kind of what the current trends are. And 3-4 years later, especially in the bagpipe community, it's a few years later that kind of becomes a thing over here in the U.S.
Yeah, and again with the wedding thing, you're talking about generally younger people. So I wouldn't be surprised if somebody decides they're into Highland dress over there, they'd start off with a trendier outfit for their wedding, and then when they get into middle age or something, then they're more interested in having a clan tartan.
Yeah, but
that kind of thing, you know what I mean?
But back to the original point, they're doing it for a different reason. They're doing it for tartan is the national identity of Scotland. The kilt is the national identity. It really doesn't matter what the tartan is to some degree.
Yeah.
It's the fact that it is tartan, that it is a kilt. For Americans, Canadians, Australians, we are doing it for a personal heritage connection. So we are, generally speaking, much more interested in the clan angle of it than just the generic tartan angle of it. Some of us do still say like, well, but I like this universal tartan or that one, or I want to wear it for a fashion fun thing. That's an angle too, but the broader spectrum of people are in the U.S. or the diaspora, so to speak, are more going at it from an aspect of family heritage, connection to their particular lineage.
Yep.
Yes, indeed. I hope that helps.
And then there's all the gossip. Oh, did you hear what Angus did last weekend? Oh,
freaking candles.
Wouldn't believe it. Yeah.
I know.
Tell you what, don't go to Glasgow on a Saturday night with that guy. Yeah. But you do get into that. I mean, it is a close community, so you do wind up having those kind of conversations too.
Absolutely. Do you have any connections to Scotland? Do you know someone over there, or are you yourself over in Scotland? What do you think? Is there a difference that you've noticed between the way that Scots wear kilts and the way Americans express their culture and wear kilts? Let us know in the comments. If you like the kind of content that we're creating, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel.